think that Buddha was Chinese?
No, he's Indian.
Buddha is Indian. He was Indian, yes. And so features changed because all of the statues made him look like the people where he was, but Buddha was Indian. Siddhartha was his name.
Can I say, years ago, I was experimenting. I wanted to make soap. I lost 30 pounds eating miso soup. Law's my witness. My wife is a witness because and I made proper miso. I actually made my own. I fermented my own beans. I made my own miso. I was just trying to see if I could make soy sauce, and because I love the flavor of soy, and I made some really, really good miso, and I used sea vegetables. And every morning I ate a bowl of soup. Afterwards, unlike every other morning of my life, not only did it heal me, but what gave me the idea is I've been a gardener for a long time. I would eat greens. Like if we ate fast food, pizza the night before, tacos and all that kind of greasy food, chicken or whatever. The next morning I would wake up feeling sluggish, and I discovered I would eat a bowl of collard greens for breakfast, and it was almost like I came back to life.
The bitters.
I don't know why,
that's what it was.
But I started on the miso soup, and not only did it satisfy my hunger, something happened. It satisfied my hunger. I had extreme amount of energy where I never stopped moving. And I think sometimes subconsciously I might go back and eat another bit, but it slowed my habit of eating junk food for energy, forget starches and sugar and stuff like that, where I was really enjoying more vegetables. After I started eating the miso soup, fruits and vegetables, moderate meats. I eat a lot of protein, I ain't gonna lie. When I first started, I used to put fish, like tuna or some type of canned fish in the miso to make it, and even some beef every now and then. I would make the pho soup, but the balance of the bacteria, what I assume it is, because I started, my ears open and I started reading, is that the bacteria in my stomach was imbalanced. And by eating that miso soup, it balanced it. I didn't have a really real problem anyway, because I've worked at home most of my life. So after I eat, I go back. It's not like at work where you gotta wait.
Right.
So I'm at home. So it balanced my gut, which in turn gave me more energy, which in turn caused me to lose at a rate of every Ramadan. My stomach would shrink, but because I kept my energy, I completely stopped overeating. I was able to, for the first time, not stress eat. I don't know why. And when I got food, I literally don't, even now when I'm full, I don't want no more food. You couldn't force food down my mouth. And I credit it to that change in my diet. I strongly believe it, because I cut out a whole lot of other stuff too.
Well, based on that, you will be the first to get a handout.
Okay. Right. Thank you. I took a bunch of pictures too, so I hope some of the stuff I didn't get is in here.
This is so I do have I didn't make a lot of copies because I really didn't know how many people would be here, but I did make some copies, and this would be talking about those areas that most often plague people. So you got a copy of dampness, okay? And this is how to eat for dampness, all right? So I did make some copies that I'll share. Yes.
Yeah.
In other lectures, and I know it's kind of popular, but they talk about proper hydrogen in the blood. And I noticed you didn't go over it, but I know it has something to do with everything that's been on there. Do you have any additional commentary about drinking alkaline water, and is that a good practice? And just elaborate on that.
So that's not a iteration, if you will, of Chinese medicine. That's more of something that became very popularized as of late, right? The alkaline water. And I think that people, as long as you're eating good food, clean food, drinking good water, clean water, I do recommend filtering your water. I do not recommend a lot of bottled water. I do drink some bottled water because that's what's convenient when you go to work and all of that. But it's best to keep your water in a glass container or a stainless steel container and carry your own water. Filter it. Now, in terms of the alkaline, you can alkaline your own. Adding lemon to water alkalines it.
You can make mineral water if you want.
Yes.
I got like 5 gallon jugs. I make my own mineral water.
And so I've tried alkaline water, and I absolutely it absolutely has zero effect on me. That doesn't mean it doesn't have effect on other people, because it also has to do with how acidic your body is. So if your body is not very acidic, it may not have as much as an effect. Okay, so we can't always do things that become popularized because.
Go ahead, finish your point, but how many copies of those you want?
Oh,
Oh, we are copy machine.
oh, great. Okay. Well, then, so everybody can get a copy. I made 5 copies. And I have them separated in packets.
The different
So, like,
packets?
This is dampness, and then all of this is dampness. I just separate them because it's 3 sheets. But these here, they're 1 sheet each. Blood deficiency, and I just turn them to separate them out.
Okay.
Let me help you.
Okay, so, and then that way people can get copies. You can get copies of everything. If I just made a few because I didn't know who would be here. Yes.
My physical therapist, he happened to be a Muslim. I can't remember his name. Do you remember his name? Yeah. I did something really bad, unnatural to my back, lifting weights too much in an environment that purposely I knew was well over 100-something degrees in my garage.
Yeah.
And I was doing as many jumping jacks. And I had a lot of water. I was drinking the water.
Yeah,
But I lost my focus. I was doing an insane amount of push-ups, an insane amount of jumping jacks, and the same amount of weightlifting.
Yeah.
And then I would go from the garage, and then the next day I would do in-the-house stuff in cooler weather, but on the treadmill. But what I did was really wrong, because I wound up tearing muscles in the lower part of my back, right here, where these muscles wrap around your hip, and then also the gluteus muscle.
That's exactly right. So the
And they
gluteus
swole.
medius and maximus.
They swole and did major damage to my sciatic nerve.
Yeah.
My sciatic nerve, this was almost 20 years ago, is still trying to heal.
Right.
Most of the lower part, I think, is
Right.
mostly healed, but now it's the upper part where every now and I feel it in my joints and my shoulders.
So let me tell you something that you can do. This is not traditional Chinese medicine, but in terms of if you ever have any ligament, tendon damage, nerve damage, B
And nerve,
vitamins,
real nerve.
B complex, and B12, and collagen.
This big.
Collagen. You must take collagen, okay? Now, you want to get a good collagen, obviously. You want to make sure that there's no gelatin in it. You want to make sure that you're getting like a grass-fed bovine
It's
collagen.
collagen from the bones of meat.
And you can make your own.
I felt the difference when
Yeah.
I started boiling chicken bones,
Right.
beef bones.
So you were making a bone broth,
I was making a broth,
right?
and the collagen is there.
The
and I
collagen
actually
is there.
felt better. I
You
felt
do.
better.
And it's really good for the gut health.
And I felt better all along.
And so that's another important piece, because everything we eat is in it's here. It's here. And so if we're not eating well, it's not going to go to all the important parts. It's not going to go up, and it's not going to go down. It's not going to go to the sides. So we've got to eat well. So good health starts in the gut. Always it's in the gut. That's why it's so important to have those things like the bone broths, fermented food, which is a whole nother conversation, but I'll just tell you briefly, you need to ferment.
I got a collection.
List a few.
Yeah.
Verbalize a few.
I got a collection
I'll tell you.
pu'er teas, and I do seaweeds and stuff. I don't know if those are considered.
No, those aren't fermented, but I'll tell you what.
But pu'ers, oh, you mean fermented like miso?
Yeah.
I do that. I ferment my own lemon, and I put in stuff. I do a lot of fermented food. I've been trying to get my family's health, but one day they might get sick, but they know
Right.
about the fermented foods because I use them, and it really, really makes a difference.
So the fermented foods, the biggest one that you hear people talk about would be sauerkraut. And sauerkraut is so good for your gut health.
I don't even know chemistry.
But you know what? If you ferment it yourself, it does not taste like any of that nonsense that you buy. And so it is so simple to do. Fermenting, but you
Is
can
yogurt
ferment.
a fermented?
Ferment is cultured,
Culture.
which is still good for you. That's still good for you. But and so you can ferment. So sauerkraut is one.
Yeah, I want you to
Just
you
hand
can
it-
take
would
just
you
so I
hand
can
it
get a
down?
mental
What
note.
fermented ginger? You can take any fruit and put it in a jar, shake it up, leave it on the counter till you see bubbles.
What about
I make
vegetables?
my own rooster sauce, my own what do you call it? The red sauce, the hot sauce.
The hot sauce.
Yeah, I make my own hot sauce. Now, if you make your own hot sauce, I can teach you how to do. It's really anything you leave in a jar in water with salt and sugar, and you put,
But
wait
with
till it starts to bubble.
right, but with fermented, you don't want to add any
And you
sugar.
add sugar to the
Right,
sweet.
right,
I'm
right. You
thinking
don't
about
wanna
my
add
rooster
sugar.
sauce.
Right,
What
right,
about
right.
what about kimchi? And garlic. You add garlic.
Kimchi is a fermented food. Kimchi is a fermented food. So kimchi, so you want to know what that
I want
is?
to listen. No, I know what kimchi is. I want to hear about 5 or 6
That's
things real quick. That's all.
Okay,
You said sauerkraut.
sauerkraut, right. You can ferment just about any vegetable. So you can ferment along with your sauerkraut. You can throw in different herbs in the sauerkraut. I fermented red cabbage, green cabbage, ginger, red onion, beets. You can ferment any of that.
Ginger is good.
How?
Turmeric.
How do you ferment?
I ferment turmeric, and it is good, and it makes you feel good.
Right. So the way you ferment,
There's so much information.
I know it's a lot of information.
I give you
You
about
gonna
a
tell
quart
them
of
how
it.
to
I would love to taste
With
some.
that turmeric, you gotta put black pepper in it.
That'll tell us how to ferment.
Process it.
She gonna tell us how to.
So the way to
Look it
ferment,
up. Next time I do that, I didn't put no pepper on it.
the way to ferment is
Go ahead, the way it's fermented.
the way to ferment is this is a simple way. What you do is you take your cabbage and you want to get organic. Okay, you want clean food.
Okay.
Okay, you must make sure that all of your utensils are sterilized and clean. You're gonna need those old-fashioned canning jars, those mason jars, and basically you want to boil some water, throw all that stuff in there, including your utensils, your stainless steel bowls, right? All of that. Just make sure, just whisk it around in the boiling water. Make sure your surfaces are clean because you don't want to contaminate anything. So the lids to the jar itself, all of that. Then you just set it to the side on a clean surface. Then you take your cabbage, organic, your carrots, organic, your parsley, your cilantro, whatever herbs you like to make it tasty for you. Because that's why it's not good. Because the stuff you buy in the store is horrible. Yes.
You see what that is? Those are Hungary pots, and I got fermented. I got gochujang. How do you pronounce it? It's gochujang. It's like paprika, but I got Thai chili and I got other stuff in there. And I ferment fish. I make my own fish sauce too.
Yes.
In there.
Yes.
But that's my vegetable garden behind
Yes.
me.
It's
That's
amazing. So what you want to do is you take your cabbage. If you have a food processor or something to cut it up, but you just want to slice the cabbage up. Food processor is the easiest way because it's zip quick, right? And you take all those vegetables and you just throw them in there. And then you take salt. But this is not Morton salt. This is going to be a sea salt or a Celtic salt or pink salt. Nothing with iodine, no iodine. And you need let's say if you have a 12-ounce, 16-ounce jar, right? What you want to do is you take no egg, not for ferment.
Float the egg to know the salinity, the level. If you mix something in water and you want to know the level of salinity so that bacteria won't overwhelm the salt, you float an egg to the size of a quart.
Right, but for fermenting, you're not using water. So what you're doing is you take the salt, and it's usually at least 2 to 3 tablespoons of salt minimum, because what the salt does is balance the bacteria. Because you do not want an overgrowth of the bad bacteria in your vegetables. So the salt balances out and it improves the good bacteria, which is the good gut bacteria. And what you're doing is you can use your hands, or you can use their little utensil like a wooden spoon or something, and you are just pounding that cabbage. You're just pounding it. But first, before you do any of that, sprinkle that cabbage on it and let it sit for 30 minutes. Because that salt breaks it down. And then guess what it does? It makes its own juice. So then when you start pounding it, right? And when it starts looking a little wilty, you then take it, you stuff it in the jar. And you take that same wooden spoon that you sterilize, right? And you are pushing it down because you don't want to leave any air at the top. And you push it down, and you push it down, and you push it down, and you're going to see the juice rise, and then you want to leave about that much space, but that's going to be some juice there. Then you'll take a cabbage leaf and stuff it on top, and that's going to keep it to keep it separated from that anything that extra that floats out, because you want to keep everything submerged as much as possible under the liquid. And then you leave it on your counter, preferably in a darker area, not like in full sun. You leave it out for 4 to 7 days. Now this time 4 to 7 days, and it's fermented, and then you put it in the refrigerator, and then you're supposed to eat a tablespoon with each meal, and that will correct your gut bacteria. So, now I just gave you the 2-second version.
Homemade vinegar. Vinegar. Is it eating a tablespoon of vinegar? I know my mother and a few other people told me, like, you eat like apple cider vinegar, like a teaspoon or tablespoon of it.
Well, that's good.
That's not
for fermenting.
That's not the 800 bacteria.
No, it's none of that.
Food.
What that's good for is just with digestion.
Yeah.
That's what apple cider vinegar is good
That's
for.
what I heard. I heard that there's 7 times more beneficial bacteria in fermented food than in yogurt. 7 times.
Right. It's a lot.
Then Greek yogurt. If you eat Greek yogurt, just think about what she said. 7 times. There's over 800 beneficial bacteria in there that's good for your health and your gut, especially your gut.
So what I would suggest, because I just gave you the 2-second version of fermented, you can Google really got everything. Or if you have a Pinterest account, maybe some of the sisters can have a Pinterest account. There are amazing recipes, and you can just and there are all kinds of combinations of food. Like I said, I've done beets and red cabbage, green cabbage, and onions and all of that, and it just becomes very, very tasty.
Sample man right there.
And it's fun.
He don't even eat my fermented vegetables.
Now my kids,
like,
they too young. See, he's old enough, he's smart enough to know what to,
Stay away from junk.
Too many experiments. You know what's the experiment.
So I was just going to say that fermenting is really beneficial, and it's and I had some other recipes and things that I've got tons and tons of recipes that are good for the various things. And so whenever we get those copies back, then you'll know for dampness in your body, for phlegm in your body, for excess cold. In Chinese medicine, we talk about what's called the 6 pernicious evils. And those are the environmental things that attack your body. So wind, cold, damp, right? And the wind attacks from the back, okay? And dampness will just engulf you, right? And just like we all feel on a rainy day, and you're like, oh, everything's achy, because that dampness is now inside of you, okay? So I probably went on way too long. So
can I mention that we have
We have
Grandmaster. We have a how many degrees?
7 degrees.
He's a 7th degree of Wing Chun, and this is a Grandmaster in the room. How many people say they sit in the room with a Grandmaster?
Oh, all right.
Wing Chun.
All right.
So we'll take one more question if there's one out there.
This is my manager.
Do y'all,
This is my manager.
Yeah, Brother Bilal has a question.
Yes.
do y'all shop at Whole Foods?
Whole Foods.
Whole Foods.
I do go to Whole Foods. I don't buy exclusively from Whole Foods, but I don't buy exclusively organic because some things, it's just not that as affordable. But what's affordable you do, there. So you can do this, and that is when you go home, Google the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15.